Narcissists are all about testing you. They they're very careful who they engage with because they don't want to engage with people who might cause them narcissistic injuries. And to protect themselves from narcissistic injuries, they need to feel that they have someone who they're dealing with who is compliant, easily subjectable, somebody who they can easily control. By the way, I'm actually cooking, so if I'm making any noise in the background, apologies for that. I've thought about making a video one of these days, actually a filmed video as opposed to a video with just a picture in the background. If anyone thinks that might be a good idea, just drop it in the comments and I'll think about that for future videos. Anyway, control. So narcissists, they're always testing people, and they will test you again and again and again. They will try to find your weak spots, or what they consider to be your weak spots, your leverage points, those areas about yourself that they can prod or manipulate to control you, to behave in ways that suit them. They're always trying to find that about you. And if they gather enough evidence at the beginning that you're somebody easily controllable, somebody who they can easily manipulate to serve them, then they will hone their sights on you more and more, because that's really what they need. Because you can't forget a couple of the kind of cornerstones when it comes to the narcissistic personality. They regulate themselves and their emotions through you. Because they can't self-regulate very well. And B, just the fact that they can make people feel what they want them to feel. And many narcissists have this certain sadistic edge to them. The fact that can make you feel what they want you to feel gives them that rush, gives them that sense of not just superiority, but almost an omnipotent feeling, omnipotent, however you pronounce that word, which they thrive off of. They really like that feeling. But the problem is, when the narcissist does get that feeling, that good rush, because they've found out a way to manipulate and control you, it only lasts for a pretty short period of time. Because it's not real energy, it's not really theirs. They're kind of borrowing it from you. And the reason narcissists are so much about finding targets who they see to be compliant and easily controllable is that for a narcissist to feel stable, they need to be able to have someone who they can every single day, or very frequently, do something here, do something there, and then you react in just the way they need for them to feel good. Whether it's to boost their ego, actively massage their ego, or to watch you maybe feel bad by something they said that could put you down. The fact they can control your feeling in that way gives them a good rush, makes them feel better. And what else? Just the fact that they can use you to complement whatever, you complement them in a sense that whatever they need to feel better about themselves, they use you to drive that feeling in them. If they're not feeling great, they need to make you feel worse. By making you feel worse, they feel better. If they're feeling good but want to feel a bit more uplifted, that's where they draw you in to massage their ego. And when they feel like they're losing control of themselves, they can't control their thoughts, their feelings, anything like that, by doing certain things to control your course of behavior, they feel more control of themselves. So as you see, you're in a way, you're their complement. You complement them in the areas they are so severely lacking. But just kind of taking a sideways step, when it comes to relationships and people generally, you often find that people complement each other. That's just natural in a good way. But with narcissists, the problem is it's not a good kind of compliment. You're complementary to them in a way that's not healthy, because unfortunately they do tend to get excited feeling a good rush when they manage to put you down. And that's why people talk about narcissists being sadistic, because unfortunately they have no regard to any negative feelings they can induce within you. Quite the contrary, it makes them feel great. So yeah, if narcissists are trying to target you, if they find you being someone of interest, they will only continue to engage if they think there is that prospect that you can be that compliant person that they need in their lives. Because, kind of going back to basics, narcissists need an ongoing, steady stream of that feedback from whoever they're targeting, whoever they're trying to engage in some form of relationship with, to feel good about themselves. You know, if they do if they put a lot of effort into controlling your course of behaviors, but they manage to succeed maybe once in every 5 times, it doesn't really cut it out for them. If they have a better supply on the side, they'll refocus on that other person. But if they don't, they'll keep trying you unless they can find somebody else. And when they can't find somebody to really get that foothold on, or that grip on, they're very energetically drained, depleted. They're frustrated. It's where, they're easily receiving narcissistic injury after narcissistic injury. They just don't function properly. So that's why narcissists are so much about control and having supply that they can easily control and who have something good to offer to them. And when it comes to you, how do you identify such a person? It's all about the red flags, isn't it? You can tell when somebody's constantly trying to manipulate you into a course of action, right? You can tell when somebody has a personality where they feel good at making other people feel bad. When you stop making excuses for that purpose, these things become evident. Your gut's constantly telling you, who you're dealing with. It's a matter of, are you listening to yourself? And a lot of people are not. And the reason you wouldn't listen to yourself was because maybe they made you feel good, or maybe they sold themselves well in the first few days, weeks, and they occasionally give you that breadcrumbs of that magnificent persona, which they did manage to present to you quite persuasively, might I add, at the beginning. So you still think that person's real. It goes back to the whole Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. You kind of see the two people in one. You want to believe that one persona is real, even though now you're only seeing the other persona. That kind of dissonance is hard. It's hard to come to terms with it. So if you see the red flags and you think you're dealing with a narcissist and you want to get rid of them, there's two ways you can do that. On the one hand, you can simply leave, which is probably the best course of action. Make your way. The other possibility is just don't let them control you. If you know they're trying to manipulate you, particularly at your detriment, if you're quite keen on what's happening, if you can kind of see the patterns and the signs, just don't be susceptible. Full stop. And they'll make their way out of your experience because you're just not the target they want. But I wouldn't really suggest that second course of action, because in a way it's almost like you're gaming them too. It's almost like you're playing a game with yourself where you're thinking, oh, I'm going to prove to myself that I'm not going to be manipulated by this person. But if you're still actively engaging with them, then you still have that kind of interaction, that kind of connection, which isn't really healthy when you're dealing with a narcissist. So when you're dealing with such a person, it's usually best to part ways, but then also think, okay, what did I learn from this experience? And that's the key takeaway that a lot of people are very late to think about and very late to act on is, okay, what can I personally take away from this experience? Because there's no point rendezvousing with a narcissist or somebody, or very manipulative personality, unless there's something in it for you. So in a perfect world, when you find out you're dealing with such a person, you'll work your way out, and then you'll take whatever lessons that experience could have taught you, let that filter through you, and just use that to enrich yourself. If you do that, the experience would have been a great thing for you. Bad experiences don't have to be bad. Sometimes bad experiences can have good outcomes, and that's what you should be focusing on.